All right, we're going to call this a chip of the day. It's an AT Tiny. In my project to control the switch capacitor filter, I want to use a modern controller. I'm going to be using an 814, AT Tiny 814. The reason I chose that is it's a larger one in the family, but it's small. And anyway, we'll get to why I chose it. So these are pretty cool little parts. They're 8-bit CPUs, which is nice. I did a chip of the day on the AT Tiny 414. I showed how to use how to program these things. So I won't be covering how to program it here, but I do have experience with that other part, and this is in the same family. It uses a one wire to program, so that's why I'm choosing it. And it has its own internal oscillator, so you don't need any type of crystal. You really don't need anything at all. So, and it's programmable. You can set any clock speed you want. So it comes in a family here, so might not really show up great on camera, but there's the AT Tiny. Tiny means small, but the first number is the flash size. So an AT Tiny 4 has 4 kilobytes of memory. And AT Tiny 8 has 8 kilobytes of memory, and that's the biggest one. So I chose the 8 so I can put in the biggest program. And then the next one is either 1 or a 2, which is the series. There's a 1 series and a 2 series. I'm not quite sure about it. People can correct me, but I think the 2 series has a hardware multiplier, and that's the only difference, but there may be other differences as well. But this one is the 1 series. Pin count is a code. So 6 means 20 pins, 4 means 14 pins, 2 is 8 pins. So we're using a 4, so we have 14 pins. And then there's some other things about what type of package and stuff you want. All right, so let's get to the next page here. All right, and here's another comparison. Here's the AT Tiny 14. And here on flash, we have 8 kilobytes of flash. We also have more RAM, so there's SRAM, so it has twice as much SRAM. It has 512 bytes instead of 256 bytes for the 4 series. And then it's got all the cool stuff in it, so everything's pretty much the same. All right, so what does it have in it? Well, it has all kinds of stuff. It's this AVR. It's a really low power consumption part, so great for battery applications, especially if you clock it slow. 1-pin programming, and then it's got the normal stuff, ADDs, 12-bit ADDs, 8-bit D-to-A. It's got UART, SPI, I2C, all the good stuff. Interrupts, programmable clock generation and stuff internally, plus you can add a crystal on the outside if you need accuracy. It does have... let's see, these are absolute maximums, but basically the thing is up to a 6-volt part. I think the 5.5 is what they recommend. So anyway, everything up to 5.5 volts. The sync source of the pins is quite good, 40 milliamps, plus or minus 40 milliamps for the I/O, so that's great. And then there's a little bit of finagling you have to worry about for how much megahertz you're going to run. It's also a static part. You can run it down to zero clocks, which is cool. But if you have a very low VCC, like 2.7 volts, you can only go up to 8 megahertz of clock if you have the 5.5 or 5. Let's see here. Yeah, anywhere between 1.8 and 5.5, you can go to 5 megahertz. If you want 20 megahertz, you have to be between 4.5 and 5.5 volts to get up to 20 megahertz. So that's what you have to worry about there. All right, so this is I love these diagrams. You can get these for every single Arduino type part. So here's the part, 14 pins. VCC and ground are in odd places, but actually it makes the routing of the board much, much easier. So I like that. There's one pin called UPDI, that's our programming pin. So we can't use that one, and we can't use power and ground. So we have 14, 13, 12. So we have 11 pins left over to do everything with. Now we're going to be using I2C, so these are the 2 pins we would use for I2C. If you were using a UART, it'd be over here, TXD, RXD. Here's SPI over here. There's other things like here's the DAC pin. There's a V reference pin that you can use. Yeah, so there's all kinds of really, really cool stuff you can do with this part. I really, really do like it. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at this little guy here. Let me put some volts into him. Now, before I lay out a PC board, I always make sure that I know which pins I can use. I've gotten trouble with this before. Where's that diagram again? So this is very valuable, but sometimes you make a mistake. And like one of the pins, you'll find out, oh, that's the only pin that doesn't interrupt, or that's the only pin, blah, blah, blah. And so I like to like kind of breadboard things first before I lay out the PC board to make sure everything's going to work fine and make sure the part's going to be the right part for the job also. So I've written a little program here. And I know that I want to use an OLED display, so that's I²C. I want to make sure that's working, so he's working fine. And I'm going to be doing some I/O, so I'm blinking an LED. And if I hold down the button here, it does a reset and starts counting again, so I can read buttons. So I figured out what buttons I can do I/O on and make sure that the I²C was going to work and that I had the right driver. So the part is supported with the Arduino libraries, but it has to use a particular core. What do I mean by core? Well, when you write a program in the Arduino environment and it compiles it, it uses subroutines from Arduino. So like the I²C, you just start using I²C commands, but you have to actually load a chunk of code into this part for it to be able to do I²C. Or if you had other functions in it as well, if you were multiplying, every single thing you do, it starts adding more and more subroutines, the Arduino subroutines into the part. And I want to make sure that it's going to fit. So I have the I²C library loaded in. It's actually a driver for the OLED display itself. So there's one driver I have to load just for the OLED display, and it does the I²C as well because it's sort of hardware based in here as well. And I also loaded a custom font. I don't like the standard fonts these guys have, and I downloaded a custom font, and that takes up a lot of memory in your device. So if you're worried about how much memory things are going to take, then go to your environment in Arduino, and I'll put a screenshot here. And when you hit compile, there will be messages down in the output box. And this one says the sketch uses about 45% of the program space. Maximum is 8K. You're using 45% of that. That's because I have custom fonts and all kinds of other things loaded in. And then it also says, well, how much of your SRAM are you using up? And I'm using up 24% of the SRAM, so I'm in good shape. Okay, so I can use this little part, which is a little bit, low in smarts. Not like a Atmega, the big Arduino parts. This is a nice little part for embedded applications. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is programming. So imagine this is the actual final PC board, okay? Instead of wires, it's routed out, and this is a board, okay? Right over here, I have 3 pins. I have power, ground, and an extra pin, okay? That's the programming pin that goes over to the part, right? And I'm going to have a little header on my board, and I'm going to be using this little UART. It's USB in and serial out. These are like less than 99 cents these days. And the other video that I did on the Atmega 414, if you search my channel for UPDI programming, that's this one-wire programming. And you can just use one of those little boards, and you have to add 1 resistor. And actually, there's actually space on the board here to add that resistor. It goes between TXD and RXD, okay? And you just consider this particular board, there's actually holes on the board, so I have a 4.7K resistor on there, and that's all you need to do. So my PC board will be able to just plug this in, and now I can program it. And everything else can be in circuit. I can do debugging and everything. It can get powered up through this device, but all it is a one-wire interface, and all the other pins are still available for the application, and that's going to be great. So, yep. When I show you the layout of the PC board, then you'll know what I'm talking about. I added a programmer header, and that's what this does. It's for this, to plug in this as a programmer.